Pereira and Anthony Joshua. Did you guys see this? It was just an exchange on the kids used to call Twitter. And it was very friendly, but Anthony Joshua tipped his hat that he's been watching Pereira and that he's impressed with him. And for some reason, we can't get around the idea of an MMA fighter going and boxing. Like, it's one of these things. And it's never been tempted the other way where the boxer comes in and, he does MMA, but fair enough. I will admit for you, Pereira would be different. As a striker who added skills to come to MMA, added to the legal requirements, to then reduce them is somewhat interesting. Now, Pereira responded, though, to Joshua. And Pereira said, I appreciate that you think so. I'm 37 years old. I can't go make a career of it, so what do you recommend I do? Now, I really like that for so many reasons, but number one is that's how a real person would talk. That's how a real person who is grounded in reality, which very few guys that make their way to television still have that awareness. And you're having a very different conversation based on what a guy's goals are. Like when you get these guys, they come over and I love boxing and I want to box and it's boxing is BS. They're just looking for the money. And that's okay. I don't know that we have a problem with it. What I'm sharing with you is the way you would approach that are two very different things. I came from a wrestling background. It's Olympic year. The games are going to start at the end of the month. But it is the entire reason that you wrestle. You have a hope or a dream. Whether you make it there or you pursue that full time, but your entire reason, right? Just like football, just like the Super Bowl or even the Super Bowl MVP, just like that, is the entire reason you start playing football in the first place. And then how far towards that you get is a different conversation. But because that's what I come from, and that is so coveted for us, perhaps I don't relate and understand to other sports that don't view it the same way. And I would just start with boxing, right there. When you have a guy and you see and you go, man, that's a talent. That guy could be world champion. Let's get that guy in there with Floyd Mayweather. Like, wow, a guy that's never done it before, huh? You believe, could beat your best to have ever done it, really. And then you get it tested where a guy 0-0 goes almost 30 minutes with a guy 50-0. Or most amazing sporting event I've ever witnessed is Francis Ngannou 0-0 getting a split decision after 30 minutes with Tyson Fury, right? It's one of these interesting things where it does make you wonder, right? Because see, when you see that, you now do have proof that the right guy that knows what he's looking at can identify somebody from the MMA world who could go over and do really great things. I mean, we wondered this as grapplers with St. Pierre. How far could he go? Could he win Abu Dhabi? He would be a threat. Could he win Abu Dhabi? Right? It's one of these things where every now and then they do come along. I would like to have the answer, and I don't understand. As a guy who values the Olympics so much, I can't understand how a guy like Pierre, if you truly are that good, if it really is a question to the point that Anthony Joshua is weighing in and supporting it, Anthony Joshua knows what he's looking at. Can we agree? I can't understand how it's Olympic year. Why didn't you go make the team? Why didn't you make the team? Is it because you're not sure you could make the team? And the guys trying in boxing are kids? They're 16, they're 19, they're 22 at the most. You as a grown man do not want to go and test that against a senior in high school because it can throw everything. Because that's why I believe they don't go to make the team. That's what I personally believe. But I could be wrong. Maybe they just don't value it. Basketball players don't value it. Like maybe there's just not an approach on it that is the same. My uncle won an Olympic championship in basketball. He has talked about it however many times I have brought it up, and not one single more. And isn't overly proud of it when I do bring it. Like, I'm just sharing with you, it was viewed differently, and they weren't He doesn't have a huge honor and pride in that. So when Pereira is asking Anthony Joshua, like, it's a very different conversation. What is it you want to do? When I see Conor go out there and beat up Floyd, I'm thinking, okay, Conor could have made the Irish Olympic team. Could have he got a medal? Could have he won the gold medal? And to me, those things are very interesting. And there's only one guy that I know of that ever tested that because he truly loved it. He truly loved it. He truly wanted to pursue it. And it was Little Nog. Of all the things that Little Nog has done, the one that I look at and I appreciate the most is he showed that he is a true competitor. He went through the amateur process. He won the Brazilian Nationals. Are you guys aware of this? I believe this was 2012 when the Olympics were in Rio. I believe it was for that one. He not only won the Nationals, he made it to the final box off to make the team. He was an alternate. He ended up losing that, and then another guy went. He was that close. But see, now you have a guy that has now proven it. One, he's proven that he loves it, that he's genuinely interested, and that's the one thing that I always miss. And any one of them could do it. And if there's another reason, I'm open to hearing it. I just don't know what it is. When I look at it, I come to the assertion, one of two things. One, you don't truly love it. If you did, you would go to the highest level that nobody can stop you. See, that's why the Olympics are so important in boxing. The whole thing is BS. If Francis can walk in 0-0 and get a world title fight, the whole thing is BS. But then the fact that he might have been the best in the world, one licensed judge put his name that he won the fight. You see the level of ridiculousness you're working with. But the one place that you have where that is not true, there is no promoters, there is no money, there is no big push. It is straight line your skills versus the next guy in a bracket is the Olympics. And when these guys want to talk about how great they are, how dangerous, I could go into boxing, I could do this, that, and the other, you don't believe that. If you did, you would have gone to make the Olympic team. Now, if there's a different reason, I'm open to it, right? I'm confined like anybody to the restraints of my own creativity and imagination. Perhaps there's a different reason that you don't go and do that. But I will see guys that are saying they want to box, man, they're dying to box. Oh, it's their dream to box, but they're under contract with the UFC. Just for example, oh, I'm under contract, I can't do it. Yeah, you wouldn't need to ask any permission. You wouldn't even have a conversation to go and try to make the Olympic team. That is a 100% federal law, not that they would dispute with it anyway. I'm just letting you know. If you truly love boxing, that's truly your thing. There's nothing that would stop you. And I wouldn't sit an Olympics out. If I was the best right now in any sport, I'm going. And I do think that Francis can make the team. After I saw what he did with Tyson Fury, I can't imagine that there's a guy, and I'm assuming the passport that Francis is holding, right? And so is from Cameroon. So I'm just assuming, man, there ain't nobody in Cameroon that could beat this guy. What an incredible opportunity to have a fun experience, to prove yourself. And Francis won the gold medal, wouldn't he? What medal do you think Conor would get? I just think those things are interesting. And what about Pereira? You're going to tell me what a great striker is? You're going to tell me that he's the best? Well, Brazil sent in a representative at that weight in exactly 28 days, and it's not him. So is he unlike me? Did he just sit an Olympics out? Or the reality is he couldn't make the team? If he couldn't make the team, and a senior in high school did, it would seem as though we don't really need to go over to boxing and find the right opponent if we're looking for actual competitiveness. So I find it to be an interesting topic. What do we want to do and who do we want to do it with? And that always seems to be the problem. Like when Conor went over and made $100 million, which by the way, he didn't. But there's your story. Then there's a misunderstanding that I can too, without understanding, one, I'm not Conor, and two, I don't have the opponent that is Floyd. Now you're just two guys that are boxing, right? It would be similar as to finding out Carrie Underwood made $10 million to sing a song, and then you went down to the karaoke bar and you couldn't figure out why it wasn't the same thing. You just can't figure it out. Sit around and you're thinking on it. It's like, well, there's a chance that you're a little bit stupid. And moreover, who would the opponent be? Like if you're asking Anthony Joshua, and I must tell you, I don't know Anthony Joshua, but I know of him. And Never have I personally seen him do anything for anybody else. I'm not turning on him. By the way, I'm just being real fair with you guys. I've never seen Joshua do something for somebody else, let alone publicly. He does it for himself. And I believe that is the misunderstanding that Pereira had. Pereira is a champion of the world. Pereira is talking about going heavyweight. Pereira has very scary hands. I believe Anthony Joshua was starting a conversation about challenging Alex Pereira. I believe the opponent that Joshua had in mind, for the connections that Joshua has for a big paycheck like he just got fighting one MMA guy already, I believe Joshua was trying to skin the same cat 2 times, and Pereira didn't understand that. And I don't think they'll go back to it. I think Joshua's going to see the response and alter and go, okay, I'm going to be a mentor and I'm going to help this guy and I'm going to be... But I think Alex misunderstood. I think the opponent that AJ had in mind was AJ.